everyone. Today we're going to talk about the off-campus book series written by Elle Kennedy. And if you've spent any time on BookTok in the past couple of years, you've definitely heard about this series. You've probably especially heard about the first book, which is called The Deal. So the first book actually came out in 2015, and that's when the series started, but it only recently got a lot more popularity because of BookTok and TikTok readers recommending the book to each other. And now, because of that newfound popularity, the show is getting its own TV adaptation, which will be set to release in May of 2026, and it will be on Amazon Prime. The journey of book to internet phenomenon to on-screen adaptation is becoming more and more popular within our entertainment industry. And I mean, it's something we've always had. Like if you think Cinderella, Harry Potter, all of those were pre-existing IP before they were turned into an on-screen adaptation. And this is something that has always happened, but it's starting to really take over our entire media landscape. But I think especially in the last few years, we've definitely seen an influx of books from BookTok making it to the big screen or other streaming platforms. In general, it's just true that social media has really shaped the way that we receive media and the media that we are going to consume. But in this video specifically, I want to talk about the off-campus series and specifically focusing on the first book, The Deal. And then I want to talk about what that book is, why I loved it, and also why I think it is the perfect book for a show adaptation and why I'm very excited to see what Amazon Prime does with it. So like I said before, the off-campus book series is written by the romance author Elle Kennedy, and it takes place at a fictional college called Briar University. Each book focuses on a different college couple, but they're all connected through a group of hockey players and their friends. And I would say that this series is definitely in my top 3 of all book series. It was so good and so fun. And I think especially the first book is my favorite. I would even go as far to say that The Deal is probably my all-time favorite book. So the first book follows Garrett Graham, who is the star hockey player at Briar University, and Hannah Wells, who is a music major that's trying to get over a difficult past. Garrett is failing one of his classes, and so he tries to convince Hannah, who is doing very well, to tutor him in the subject. In return, he agrees to pretend and date her so that she can get the attention of her crush. And then obviously, like most fake dating stories, that arrangement turns into a friendship, which turns into something more. Again, while the other books in the series are really, really good, I would say that the first one is the absolute best. I sat down and read it in one sitting. The other ones took me a little bit longer, but the first one is so good. And if you're going to read any of them, I definitely recommend the first. I'm very excited to see what the on-screen adaptation will look like for this book, and I'm very excited, and I hope that it is good because it's one of my favorite books, and I just hope they do it justice. I think one of the reasons that The Deal is so popular is because it uses a lot of different romance tropes that fans absolutely love. Those things like fake dating and opposites attract, and that whole college sport romance is really, really popular because it already creates a lot of tension and stakes, and then it gives a lot of room for character development and growth. I think another reason that it really resonated with fans is because of the character dynamics. Like Garrett and Hannah have a very transactional relationship at first, but it turns into something more. Again, with the whole fake dating, everybody loves it. It's a fan favorite trope. It's one of my favorite tropes, and I think that it really helps in this specific story. And I am glad that they're not all like this. They all have very different tropes in each of the books, but The Deal specifically, like that one's my favorite. That slow burn romance is just something that romance readers love, and I think it is something that translates on screen so well, especially in a TV show. I am really glad that they decided to make this a TV show instead of a movie because I think that it would allow for a much more natural progression than having to sit down and watch it all happen in 2 hours. And I might be biased, but I also really, really enjoy that it's a college setting. Like I said, I am biased, but I don't feel like we have enough TV shows that specifically focus on college group people. I mean, it's a very short amount of time. It's 4 years of your life, right? But I just feel like a lot of young adult romances focus more on high school or that age just out of college or your later 20s, early 30s instead of, 18 to 22. I personally think we need more shows like, Sex Lives of College Girls that just follow people who are freshmen in college to seniors in college, and that natural progression of your life, because that is a big moment for a lot of people. And I feel like we don't have a lot of media that is on television or things like that that actually dissects that age group. Again, I'm biased, but I think because of the college setting, I am really excited to see it as a TV show, because that's the kind of media that I would like to consume right now, as I am college aged. And then there's that hockey element and the whole sport element that really also helps drive up the popularity of this book series. Sports romances have been incredibly popular, especially recently with the drop of Heated Rivalry and things like that. I think a lot of people are getting more and more into specifically hockey. But I will say, I think that the reason that this book got so popular recently is not just because of traditional marketing and cyclical popularity and booms and whatever. I think it's genuinely just because of BookTok and people discovering this book and recommending it to others. Social media has such a big sway in the media that we consume and the media that gets produced. Platforms like TikTok have created entire communities surrounded with readers that recommend books to each other and make edits and talk about their fan theories. Sometimes all it takes is a couple of viral videos for a book to start to gain all that popularity again. If a book already has a large following and online presence, then it feels like a safe bet to be able to adapt that into a TV show or a movie, because there's already a group of people who are waiting to consume that media. A novel could cover a couple of months in one chapter, whereas a television show has to space it out. A lot of the times, because of that, side characters get more expanded, which is something that I would be curious to see in the TV adaptation of the Off Campus series. I'm curious to see what the Off Campus series will do with that, because they probably will have to expand other characters in order to keep viewer attention. I am excited to see which characters we'll get to know more closely. I'm also curious to see if there's any plot points that'll get changed, because a lot of the time that happens to better work for an on-screen adaptation. But I think when an adaptation really, really works, it's usually because the base that we have is very, very strong, already has very strong characters and development. And I think that that's one of the reasons that the Off Campus series is so perfect for a television adaptation. The books already revolve around a larger group of characters rather than just one couple. Each novel focuses on a different relationship, which means that each season will probably focus on each different couple, but that already allows a lot of room for them to start introducing people before. That kind of ensemble storytelling is really popular in TV because it keeps, our attention a lot better than just watching two people. That sometimes can get tiring and a little bit boring, if we're being honest. I think whether or not the Off Campus series becomes a successful adaptation doesn't really matter. I just think it's kind of an interesting example of how books that were published so long ago can become popular again and then become big sensations that get adapted. It really is an example of how social media has shaped our entertainment industry. And for fans of the series like I am, it's super exciting because we finally get to see Garrett and Hannah on the big screen and see what format their relationship might take. Before the first Off Campus season comes out, I think everyone should read the books. They're so good. If you're going to read any of them, read the deal. You have time. The show comes out in May. All right. Anyway, that's all I have to say. Thanks, guys.